Hey there, it's David at Bodyworks again. Today we're going to talk about what I affectionately call the good cop, bad cop techniques. If you've got clients that really don't like taking deeper work, but then complain to you about the fact that they're not getting results, this might really help you allow them to take that deeper work. And essentially what we're going to show is a whole bunch of different ways that one hand might be doing the deeper work while the other hand is doing and including much softer work. And it's just a way of kind of hacking the brain proprioception to allow the deeper work to happen without resisting it. So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to show a simple psoas release video, and in fact there is a much more in-depth explanation and showing of these techniques in this video here, but I want to explain a little bit more about the good cop, bad cop way that this works. So again, we're contacting psoas through the front, and if I just do that with only that contact, it's gonna be a little intense. And in fact, if I just sink in here, Christopher, what is that on a scale of 1 to 10?
6.
Yeah, it's a 6-ish, which is tolerable for him, because he's a massage therapist and he's had this work hundreds of times. For a lot of your clients, this is going to make them jump off the table and want to run away from it, but they actually really need it, right? They sit all day, their psoas is super tight. So, if I add in some gentle rocking, which is one way of adding in the good cop to the bad cop. So the pressure on the psoas with my right hand is the bad cop. The gentle rocking on my left hand of his femur in the socket is the good cop. And again, the way that this works is that all proprioception in the body runs along the same nerve pathways. And our brains only accept so many signals at the same time along those pathways. So there isn't a separate pathway for pain than there is for movement. All runs along the same channel. So by adding in movement, you're simply overloading and not letting it even see half the pain signals. But the other part of why this works is that evolution designed us to process movement over and at a higher priority, which is basically an evolutionary advantage. If you're running away from a tiger, you need movement proprioception way more than you need pain. In fact, you don't want to be distracted by the pain at all, because if you stop to think about it, or you stop to go ow, or you stop to rub the thing that hurts, you'll get eaten, which is bad. So the brain grew up through evolution to put movement at a higher priority. So if you add movement to pain proprioception, the pain proprioception lowers, and it allows that client who normally flinches or can't take deeper work to just allow it to happen. So that's one way of practicing good cop, good bad cop. Another way might be to have the client move on their own. And so you could ask the client to gently extend through your heel on the left, not lift off the table, but just really try to lengthen the back of the leg. And in doing so, you're making another part of their brain have to concentrate. So again, they can't purely focus on the sensation of me contacting the psoas right here. So that's yet another way of hacking your brain. A third way might be to simply very gently contact parts of the body. So I might gently contact here with a very soft touch in the left hand, even though the right hand has pressure, and just guide the leg ever so slowly into an extension. And again, it's just another signal that you're adding to the pathway. Any of them are useful. You could think of this as being your trigger point hand and almost this being your craniosacral hand. All right, so another place that your clients might find really hard to take deeper work and they really need it is the quads. I don't know how many times I can tell you that a client is just completely stuck right above the knee in the deeper quadratus intermedius, which is that deep part of the quad below rectus femoris and in between medialis and lateralis. That's the big power mover. And for a lot of people, it's very stuck. And if you actually sink down onto it, it's awful. And you might be tempted to sort of react to that awfulness by just avoiding it or not doing it, but they're going to continue to have back pain no matter what you do after that. And so one way to allow them to take this deeper contact here, and Christopher, let me check in. What does that feel like right now? Yeah, right, and I'm not putting a lot of pressure here. I'm just leaning into that muscle. Now, one thing I might do to help out is to gently guide this ankle and foot, just gently flexing and pointing the foot. And again, that gives him some movement for his brain to process. So again, I've got this forearm right above the knee, sinking down below rectus femoris into vastus intermedius, and that is, as you said, a 7 bordering on an 8, or at least it was when I first contacted it. So what I'm going to do is introduce a little bit of passive movement, so passive for him, active for me. I'm just going to gently flex and point his ankle joint, and potentially even his knee joint by lifting the ankle up and off the table. This is very light and slow. I'm not forcing anything, just giving his brain something else to deal with that at least makes this quad work a little bit more palatable. I wouldn't say a lot more palatable looking at his face, but a little enough that I can actually get away with it, not have him just jump off the table and run. So another version, if I'm trigger pointing something that feels pretty awful, sometimes I will use the other hand just in almost Reiki-style contact or craniosacral-style contact. So I'm going to use these fingers to contact this space that I like to call the magic point, right between the floating rib and the transverse process of L1. If you don't know those terms, I highly recommend not trying this. This stuff really should be only done by licensed massage therapists or similar trained individuals. So if I just contact there, I can see the eyebrows tighten up. That's going to feel weird and awful, kind of bizarre probably. I can just gently put my hand right there on his belly, and it just splits his brain enough that he can't quite focus on how awful the bottom contact is. It's not going to make it like go away completely, but it's just this nice little comforting something happening right here. You can also gently rock here, but again, this is just, there's no pressure here. It's literally just putting a hand on the area of the body. I could also contact just above the knee and gently move the femur in the socket as I'm doing that, or even just come down and contact the bottom of the foot. Doesn't really matter where. The point is to create that distraction. I do recommend rounding that out with something very gentle, like a traction or a transitional stretch, and there's a great video on transitional stretches right there. These techniques do require a very good grounding in solid body mechanics. Otherwise, you might hurt your hands or hurt your back in trying to do two things at once. And we have a really great one-day workshop here in New York City that teaches you how to use really good body mechanics and grounding so that all the techniques are coming up from your feet and not just using your arm muscles and beating up your bones. Check out the link in the description below if you're interested in taking that workshop. And hopefully, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for updates. Thanks so much.